For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thank you for tuning in today. Now, this is interesting because to understand this episode of the show, you're going to need to be familiar with what we talked about last week. And then you also need to be familiar with what we talked about the week before that. So this is essentially part 3 of a continuing series about restaurants. I didn't realize this would be such a hot topic when we first started talking about it 3 weeks ago now. So I appreciate you listening to this show. If you haven't heard the other 2, do yourself a favor, get clued in, go back to that first one from 2 weeks ago, and then last week, and then come to this one. Okay? And I had to check with our team because I said, is this the first time that we've done a 3-parter? We're basically almost going on, a full month on the one topic. And they said, no, they were laughing because it's funny, but it's not. But I got to tell you anyway. So, earlier, or it was last year yet. Okay, wait, so let me go back to the beginning. For years now, I have had pen pals in jail, in lockup, in prison, behind locked up criminals. And not the kind of relationship, how you always hear about these people who, they're in relationships. Oh, I'm married to somebody. It's like, but you've never even met. You don't even know who that. I'm happily married. It's not that kind of relationship with these people. But so years ago, our company was going to produce a podcast series about inmates who are doing positive things. So whether they start, they start a club, or they just want to help people. Maybe they will, volunteer and do some things. We were going to do a series of interview segments or shows about a bunch of these different inmates. So that's how this all started. Let me be clear. So our company was in talks with the company that provides the technology. I guess I didn't even realize that inmates have tablets and things behind bars. I thought that when you go to jail, you're stripped of everything and you're kind of just in a room by yourself, right? That concrete cell kind of visual that you get, when you're a kid and your parents are trying to scare you about, if you do bad things, you're going to go to jail. Well, they've got tablets. They can, rent and buy movies. They can, listen to podcasts. I didn't know any of this. So we had a couple meetings, and they had given me some names of some people. Like, oh, this guy's doing this in this state or this city. Here's one who's created. And like I said, it could be anything, right? Some of them will start like a music program, or you've heard about where they will also train service dogs, things like that, because they're wanting to turn their life around and they're wanting to do good things, and I think that's wonderful. We should be sharing stories like that. So we were going to do that. Anyway, through a series of cuts, and then I think Corona happened, so we had just a bunch of the facilities had short staffing, and it was just kind of bad. So it ended up not coming through. But in the weeks or months or however long that we were looking into this, I was in touch with, I don't know if you call them pen pals or what it is digitally now, but I had been messaging back and forth with a bunch of different people. So it's kind of weird to sort of go and say, hey, would like to chat with you, kind of get to know more about you. I'm a journalist. Now, what I found, by the way, we're going to get to the restaurant thing in a second, but what I found was that a lot of these people, I guess, get reached out to because they appear on shows like Dateline or 48 Hours or any of those A&E shows. And so they're very suspect when somebody reaches out and is like, oh, hey, I'm a journalist. Right? So because they think that you're wanting, the juicy, you're going to report something and they're going to get burned because you're going to go and, report them. And that's where I kind of felt like, nah, I don't do that kind of a thing. Like, I'm a broadcaster. Feel free to, look me up. This is what I do. We don't do sensationalized stuff. Like, I'm not a true crime reporter. I don't do anything like that. I'm an entertainment guy, celebrity stuff. So, I'm not exploiting you. We're wanting to do. And if you want, you can even check with, the guard, or not the guard, but like the, whoever runs the jail. What do you call them? I'm not familiar with the whole thing. The sheriff? Sheriff? Is that what you said? Yeah. Check with it. Like, they're the ones who told us about you. So, check. Like, this is a legitimate thing. We're really going to do this. So anyway, it falls through, but I'm still having these, conversations with people. So one of the guys that, this was going on for about, 3 or 4 years. And I just, last holiday season, so we're going back to Christmas of the previous year, not just this one that went. I got messages, from a bunch of them, as I always would, at the beginning of December, I think it was. And, Merry Christmas or whatever it was. And I just didn't think about it. It's not like it's a text or an email that's right on your phone. It's kind of like you get the notification and then I'm kind of like, it's not right in your face. So it's not, I didn't think to respond. And this communication was pretty slow anyway. It would, you'd get maybe one message a week and then I'd write back a week later and then a week later a message comes. So, we're not talking like texting buddies here where it's, 7, 10, 15 messages a day. It's not like that at all. So anyway, I sit down in, I think it was April of last year. So now several months after Christmas, because I was like, oh shit, I think maybe I was watching Dateline with my husband and I was like, oh, that's right. Maybe log in. I'll respond Merry Christmas, in April to these people. And so I had typed up this big, really long kind of a message because one of the guys, believe it or not, we actually started talking business and, it's weird because it almost does feel like a friendship, even though never met this guy. He murdered somebody, it was kind of bizarre. And so, but when you've spent all this time, and I'm asking him about, his life and what kind of, he had aspirations to be a business person. So, what kind of business would you open? And so because he knew what I do for a living, obviously, because of this arrangement, just started asking things about that. And then you start talking about relationships. And so it almost does feel like a friendship. Well, anyway, so I go and I type this big, long response. And then I go and I hit send, and then it says user not found or something to that effect. It was basically an error message. And I thought, oh, well, maybe he was moved to a different facility, because I know that happens sometimes where they will just out of nowhere, whether it's a security thing or maybe it's just randomness, just, shuffle people around. So I thought that's what it was. So I go and I looked up his inmate number or something or whatever it's called, or housing number, or I can't remember I'm Canadian. The Canadian prison system is much different than the American one. It's not a profit business in Canada like the healthcare thing is in the US. So I'm looking up and I was just like, well, that's really weird. Maybe he got out, because I knew that he was preparing an appeal and he was very hopeful that, he might be able to be released. By all accounts, though, he did murder the person, but So anyway, I thought, this is really strange. I just spent like however long, maybe even an hour, kind of answering these questions, asking him, reading back the previous messages, and so I went and I Googled his name and found out that he'd killed himself in jail. And when I saw that, first of all, I was pissed because I just spent an hour of my time writing all this to him. That's how good of a person I am, folks. But I was kind of shell-shocked. I was just sort of stunned like that. This is, wow. And that's the first time that I've really kind of been impacted or affected by suicide. And like I said, we're talking like, this guy's in Florida. I'm, where I am, living my life, doing my thing. But it was just kind of like, I don't know anybody who's killed themselves. And I don't really know this guy, but I kind of know him. You know what I mean? And so because of that, when I come into work on Monday or whatever day it was, because typically it was a weekend night or something, where we're just kicking around at home. And then I'm like, oh, I'll just write something. So So on Monday I come in and everybody's like, oh, what's going on? And I said, do you remember? And I say the guy's name. We were going to do this, feature with him. And they said, yeah. I said, he killed himself. I Googled it. It's in the newspaper that he killed himself just before his appeal. Turns out he was like lying and he was doing a bunch of things ahead of the appeal. So I think maybe what happened was he's kind of like, well, I fucked up, now I've just, ruined everything. So, what's the point? I don't know. I'm just speculating. But anyway, so because this started a big conversation in the office, we ended up doing 3 episodes on the Scribble. Look back last year if you want to go to the page. We're basically talking about inmates. And one of the topics came up is, could you fall in love with somebody who's behind bars, who's a murderer that you've never met before? And, these guys have really interesting stories to tell because they, as I said, they do find it difficult to trust people, but at the same time, they're very lonely, right? So in that instance, and it's kind of, I guess, if the same situation of people on dating show, The Bachelor, right? I mean, you're just deprived from the outside world. You haven't, so you think that you're falling in love with the person because you haven't seen anyone, you haven't been in that position to flirt or, whatever with other people that entire time. So anyway, that's the 10-minute explanation. We have to go. I haven't even started talking about restaurants yet. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll talk about part 3 of our restaurant debate on the Scribble right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
JB here on the Scribble, they're laughing at me. They say, you're the only host that can get halfway through the show and you still haven't even talked about the topic at hand and what we're discussing today. All right, so let's get back into restaurants because, so it started out by asking, is one bad experience at a restaurant enough to make you go and say, never again, not going back, done, don't care how great the food is. It's just not happening again. And then I guess it sort of led to a big debate and discussion about consumer intolerance. Would that be the word? Consumer exhaustion, maybe, of just the service industry in general, right? And so we've talked about that where, a lot of fast food restaurants, whatever, now have, the tip off. Well, first of all, the prices are going up, as you've undoubtedly experienced when you've gone to a restaurant. But then there's, the idea of tipping, and then, the food portions are smaller, or it's just kind of gross. It's just not a fun experience. And, and then of course it's just cheaper sometimes to buy groceries or, make it at home. And, so one thing that I mentioned on a previous show was that after we had this discussion, because that situation that I was referring to about that one bad experience, that happened to our executive producer, Bonnie, and her husband, Mike. So we were having the discussion in the office, and then I go home that night, and I guess my phone or something was listening to me, and so I went onto YouTube, and all of a sudden I'm getting videos about restaurants and people talking about why this restaurant chain is dying and why people are turning around. And I thought, that's really spooky. We knew that our phones were listening to us, but this was something where I'm having a discussion in one building, and then I come home, and then I go onto my TV at home, which I guess my TV and phone or whatever are connected, so that's probably why. So, now this is the funny thing, is that since then, so again, we're going back 3 weeks now, I've actually been watching a bunch of these different videos. You know, why the Cheesecake Factory is failing, why McDonald's, why Quiznos, why Subway, why KFC, you know, and it's really interesting because, and I don't know how much of this information is true, right? I mean, these are just people who are putting together videos. But it's just kind of interesting that the sentiment is the same across all of them, though, is just like I said, it's that consumer fatigue. And so in hearing from you and your emails that you've been sending in, which is what I enjoy doing, whether you're a murderer or not, is your thoughts on the restaurant thing. So I wrote a bunch of them down. And one of the big complaints is about the impersonal nature and service of restaurants. So let's stick with fast food. So you've got apps, kiosks, drive-through, AI technology, and as much as it's supposed to make life easier, and I'll admit it though, there's a couple times where I've gone to, whether it is McDonald's or whatever, and I'm not feeling like being a people person. You have to remember that too, in my hometown of Winnipeg, I've been in the media for a very long time. So back, a few years ago when I was a little bit more well-known, I mostly live in West Hollywood now, I don't feel like being pleasant or whatever, so I'll go to the kiosk, order my food, I'll have my hat and my sunglasses on, and I'll just stand there because I don't want to be pleasant. I don't want to be, not that I'm a celebrity, not that everybody knows me, but I'm just kind of like, I just don't want to deal with people. And that's fine, right? Maybe that's the benefit of having a kiosk or an app. But the argument that people make is, first of all, the app, data grab, right? Because it wants to know your birthday and all this other shit. But I guess consumers are kind of like, why do I need to download your app just to get sale prices or reasonably priced food? It should just be available to everybody. Why do I need to prove my loyalty to you by using your app? Which is interesting because I honestly never thought about it that way. I really didn't. Obviously, I've certainly downloaded an app so that I can get the discounts or the offers on whatever it is, but I was just kind of like, whatever. I mean, I use a fake name and everything in them anyway. I think I mentioned that last week where I've got, Dwayne and Betty and all these different names that I've made up. So it's kind of funny to, get food delivered written for, Betty or Dwayne or Rob or whatever name that I've come up with. So that is one thing, right? Why, that you're basically penalizing or punishing people who don't have smartphone technology. Let's say, well, my grandparents are dead, but I mean, let's say that it was my grandma who's going to a fast food restaurant by her home. You're going to make her pay full price and punish her because she doesn't have an app. Somebody who's older like that on a, limited income or what have you, she's going to pay full price. Give the offer to everybody, or just permanently lower your selling price. Because if you think about it, I mean, if you're able to sell it to all of us who have the app, if you're able to sell it to all of us for a cheaper amount, then just make it the cheaper amount. It doesn't really, right? So that means that it's bizarre when I actually, kind of sit back and think about it. So the apps are one thing to get deals. And then, we've talked about ordering apps with fees. Kiosks is another thing. The beauty back in the day of going to a fast food restaurant was I can walk in, step to the counter. I'd like the number 6, no mayo, add bacon, Coke with no ice, fries. Pay, step to the side, done. It was simple, right? Now, I can go to a kiosk, try to figure it out. Basically, I've got to piece it together, right? I've got to start pressing all these buttons and go, oh my God, okay, I want this kind of a bun, this kind of a that, don't want this, add this, do the. So it goes back to that whole grocery store thing where you have to bag your groceries, you got to ring up your order now with self-checkout. It's become very user unfriendly. So the experience of like, if I'm going to a restaurant, whether it's a sit-down restaurant, whatever, I'm now having to, you're tasking me with doing things. And that's a big part of the frustration with consumers now is this is just another place where I've got to do stuff, right? You go through the drive-through. If it's one of those AI ones where it doesn't hear you properly, so it's putting the wrong things, a lot of the time, this is another thing. There was a statistic that I read. Oh shit, I don't have it with me. But it was a big number percentage. This doesn't really help illustrate my point, but it was a big number percentage of people who reported having something wrong with food that they've ordered in the last year. If one of my if they're going to, okay, my group is going to try to find it here, but it was surprising to me because I'm sitting there going, that's another thing, right? You order food from a delivery app and there's a good chance that if there's something wrong, so not only does it piss you off, okay, right? You're frustrated because, and this actually did happen to me. It's happened a couple times. I love chicken burgers. I mentioned that on the show last week. So it was, I think it was like buy one, get one free chicken burgers. I got 2 what appeared to be just really flat, kind of gross hamburgers. And so this is the thing, right? So not only was I hungry when I ordered, right? Now you got to wait for it to come. So you're building up that anticipation. You know, you're salivating a little bit because you're hungry, right? Oh, here comes my food. Okay, good. You open it up, it's wrong. So you get so pissed off, so worked up that now you have no appetite, right? And I don't have a meal because I guess I could have given it. Oh, I don't remember what I did. Did I give it to the husband or did I give it to the dogs? Either way, I re-gifted, let's say. And so now I don't have a meal. So now I'm going to have to go on to the chat or whatever it is in the app, complain. And then I've got to take a picture of it to prove what it is. And then wait for somebody to chat. They're going to offer me credit. They're not going to refund my money, right? Because they want to hang on to my money. They're going to offer me the credit. And it's like, no, give me my money back. Oh, well, it can take 7 days. A credit goes through right now. Give me my fucking money back. I don't have time for this shit. I'm already pissed off. Now my stomach is turning. I don't even want to eat. Give me my money. Let me go elsewhere. Now, I realize that's not the app's fault, but I'm just saying, I said, give me my money. Don't make it even worse by giving me roadblocks and hurdles and run around and, subterfuge that we just, give me my fucking money. If it takes 7 days, I don't fucking care. Give me my money. So you have that. There's that fear of my order is going to be wrong and, or it's not going to come at all. By the way, I've got to tell you this story. So because we're on restaurant theme week or theme month, we actually got somebody's food delivery to our house. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever got the notification and says, oh, your food's been delivered, and then you go to the door and you're like, it's not there. What are you talking about? That's happened to me with groceries. First of all, that was a couple years ago, and it was in the summer yet too. I ordered a couple frozen things. I had a big block of cheese, and I get the notification saying your order's been delivered. I was getting together with my sister-in-law after, so I said to her, like, just hang tight. I've got, groceries coming, and then I'll let you know, and then we'll go when it's done. So I'm looking around going, is it at the back door? Is it the front door? Is it on my front grass? Is it under a tree? Like, where the hell is it? So they take a picture of it sometimes, right? That's how they prove that they delivered it. So I go and I look, it's a yellow house. My house is not yellow. So I go onto the app and I said, you look at all of my previous orders. You will see exactly what our front stairs and everything look like. We didn't redesign the house. We didn't do that. And that's a big task if I just want to scam you out of my $40 grocery order too, by the way. That's a very big, And so I said, like, yeah, I don't even know where this yellow house is. So I get together with sister-in-law. We go do our thing. I don't know if we did lunch or what we were doing. I come home in the afternoon, and then I thought, I'm going to walk the dogs and just go to a couple different streets that are around my house, go, look at the same address and see. Sure as shit, believe it or not, there's my bags of groceries on the front stairs of a house. Was it 1 block or 2 blocks down? I can't remember. It was 1 or 2 blocks down. So as luck would have it, there's actually somebody who's going up the side. She comes out of a car. She goes up the sidewalk to the front door. And I just called over and I said, excuse me. I think those are my groceries. So she comes to the public sidewalk where I'm walking and I hold up my phone and I sort of like, look at, I've even got the app. Like, this is like, do you mind if I, grab those? She's like, oh, well, this is my friend's house, but, hold on, let me go. So the friend comes out, or the owner or whatever, comes out. I explained the situation. I said, look, here's my order. That's your house. Like, this is, would you mind? So she does. She lets me take them. Meanwhile, I had already reported them as missing. The frozen stuff, the cheese was like so melted, it basically just like flopped down, and I kind of thought, oh, that's gross. But I mean, there was a box of crackers, there were some other things that were just fine, but I didn't get the order. So this happened the other night. We're at home, we did order food, and I don't remember what we had ordered, but it should have been probably one bag. We ordered pizza. Sorry, that's right. So we had 2 pizzas, and there was a bag of something on the top of the pizza boxes, like stacked on the pizza boxes. So my husband brings it in, and I said, well, what is that? And it was from a different restaurant altogether. So it wasn't even from the pizza place that we ordered from. And it had the name Kathy written on it. We don't live with any women. There's no women in our house. So I'm laughing, and I said, oh my God, we got somebody else's order with ours. And she had ordered, there was sauce, and then there was like a breadstick, like pretzel buns or something, or like a bread. I can't remember what it was. It was good, believe it or not. We actually enjoyed it. We ate it. I mean, I don't know, what are you supposed to do? Am I supposed to go through the app and say, did you have an order for Kathy in my neighborhood? Well, I got her for, I don't know what you do. Would you report it? Would you go and say something? But should I go onto Facebook and say, by the way, if there's a Kathy in the neighborhood, you ordered from such and such, Kathy's not going to want her food. But anyway, send me an email if it's happened, if you've received somebody's order, or you just didn't get yours and it was delivered somewhere else. Live at jbonair.com, LIVE at jbonair.com. So the kiosk thing at restaurants, that's what I was saying, is, not like, now I have to go in there. Now I've got to punch it in like I know how to work this goddamn thing, which, I mean, they're not difficult to figure out, but still. Right? Now I'm working the register, essentially. It gives me that vibe of going to a grocery store and having to ring up my stuff in self-checkout, bag it all together. I mean, we're probably short, we're not too far off from having to just go and pick up the items, right, in under the warmer or something like that. I mean, like, why are the counter people there? And so I'm one of those people who, if it comes to customer support or whatever, just give me the phone number. I'm going to call you. I want to have that immediate direct contact, resolve it in 5 minutes. We're off the phone, on our way. I don't want to spend 45 minutes chatting, because I know that the person is going to be chatting with, if it's even a real person, is chatting with 10 other people. They're not really focused. They're not paying attention. They have no authority to do things. They're going to have template responses that are just going to piss me off even more. So if I'm going to a restaurant, I'm going to step to the counter. I want the number 9, this, like I just said. And then I'm going to move over, give me my cup or whatever it is if I have to fill it myself, and then I'll stand there and wait. But part of that, though, too, is there's the frustration now where it's, you're standing there for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, because they've either cut back on staff, they're worried about the drive-thru, they've got a bunch of takeout orders that they're focused on, they're not paying attention. Have you noticed this, by the way? In fast food restaurants, the attention is either the drive-thru or the takeout orders, the delivery app orders. Very rarely do you see the in dining or the in-house or whatever dining. Very rarely do you see those customers. Like, it's almost kind of like there's going to be one person at the register and a lineup and people standing around, but yet how many people working the drive-thru? How many people doing? Like, why is there one counter person inside the actual, dining area? It's either cutbacks or it's the priority of, our app service is more busy than inside, so that's where they focus the attention. So, that's also another thing. So not only do I walk into the restaurant, I either have to go through the kiosk and do it myself if there's a lineup at the register. Then I'm going to stand there and wait for 10, maybe even 15 minutes. Now, I appreciate, fresh hot food. I'm not saying that, the fries should be immediate and it's going to be something from 3 hours ago. I'm not saying that. But we know that they're not grilling the chicken right then and there, right? It's sitting in a warmer. It's sitting in a whatever. You need to take the tongs or your plastic gloves, whatever it is, put it on the bun, slop on the one piece of lettuce, the brown lettuce, the 2 slices of pickles that you probably charged me 30 cents more for, even though, I didn't want tomatoes, so you'd think that would be an easy substitute. So you just, that all kind of adds up though, right? Where now you're just like, well, I don't want to go there. Oh, because I remember what it was like last time, right? It took forever. I had to do it. They made it wrong. I had to go back to the, and it's just another notch on that. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm just not going. We just have that exhaustion. And I talked about that. This is, I've done that series about customer service ain't what it used to be. I've talked about that many times on this show. But there are some stores where, I go in and go, oh, that's right, last time this and this happened. Oh, it's self-checkout. Oh, it's this and that. And I feel almost like a rage just going in there. I haven't even stepped foot in the store, but I just remember what it was like last time. The hassle, had to do it myself, or there was a lineup even for self-checkout. I don't fucking work here. It's not my job to ring things through. There should be more cashiers at the counter. Like if you've got 4 registers at your counter and there's a lineup, I want all 4 registers full. That's what I want to see. I don't want one register when you've got an entire, and then, the employees are down the aisles doing stock. No, your customers are number one. You can stop what you're doing, put the stock in the back, come up and help serve your customers. That's, I think, also maybe why people steal. Truthfully, I really think that's why that happens. Is, you know what, you're going to make me do it? Well, okay, I'll teach you a lesson and then I'll steal. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that I think that's what happens. Because, one of the things that I used to do, by the way, and I've said this about saving money, is when I have to stand in line, especially if it's for self-checkout, I don't mind standing in line if it's going to be the cashier because it's their job, they're doing it, and whatever. I also am not going to bag it, though. If I'm thinking of one dollar store in particular that I would go to get dog biscuits or tape or just, like little cheap stuff. And I will put my bags on the counter and they'll just scan stuff and expect me to bag it. And I'll say, nope. I'll even put it down on they have the little bag holder kind of thing, at the bottom. And I'll just go and I'll just kind of put it down there and be like, yeah, just there it is. I'll just fix that for you. There you go. We can just, bag that for me. But my thing is I will start to put things back. So if I've got a basket or a cart, every minute, it makes me look at what I'm getting and reassess if I actually want these things. It will make me go and say, all right, you know what? I grabbed that, whatever, candle or just bag of chips, let's say. We don't really eat chips, but let's say it was a bag of chips. I grabbed this bag of chips because the flavor intrigued me. But now I'm standing in line, I'm going, I don't really want this one, so I'll put that one back. But yeah, so for every minute, or I'll just kind of look at everything and go, I didn't really need this little, candle holder. Didn't really need that, so I'll put that back. Yeah, so the longer I wait, the less my bill becomes because I'm just, I have second thoughts. I'm like, I don't want it. Because I'm getting into a bad mood now, right? And now, so tell me your thoughts about apps and deals and kiosks and fees and, is it getting too much? Oh, and the tipping thing as well. Send me an email, live, L-I-V-E at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com. We're out of time. Oh, I ran too late because that first 10 minutes about criminals. We're done. All right. Oh, we're overtime yet. Ay. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. That email address is live at jbonair.com. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye for now.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com. Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,